It was an ordinary evening at home when everything shifted. I had just finished dinner and was skimming through emails when Melissa, my wife of 7 years, walked into the dining room. She looked unsettled, her fingers nervously drumming against her phone. I sensed something was wrong, but I wasn't prepared for the bomb she was about to drop. She sat across from me, eyes down, and in a hesitant tone said, "I need to tell you something. I'll be going away for a few days, with Ryan." For a moment, I froze, waiting for her to smirk, to say it was a joke. But Ryan wasn't just anyone. He was her ex, a man I believe was firmly in her past. Hearing his name in the context of a trip felt like a punch to the chest. At first, I thought I had misheard her. My mind refused to process it. My wife, the woman I trusted, openly telling me she planned to travel with her ex. Who does that? But she didn't flinch. She sat there stiffly, lips pressed tight, staring at the table like she was bracing for my reaction. That's when it hit me. She was serious. The silence was suffocating. My heart felt like it was collapsing in on itself, but I forced myself to stay calm. Exploding would only hand her an excuse to call me jealous or insecure, and I refused to give her that. Finally, I broke the silence with a single question. My voice was steady, though anger churned beneath the surface. She launched into a well-rehearsed explanation, how it was for work, how Ryan had connections that could boost her career, how I should trust her, because there was nothing to worry about. The casual, dismissive tone made my stomach twist. She wasn't even hiding it. She laid it all out, expecting me to accept it as reasonable. That was when I realized this wasn't just thoughtlessness. It was arrogance. As she spoke, I caught something else. She kept sneaking glances at me, waiting. She wanted me to react, to plead, to accuse, to shout. If I did, she could twist it, call me controlling, insecure, jealous. It was a trap, and she thought I'd fall for it. But instead of giving her the reaction she craved, I let her finish. I nodded slightly, face unreadable, refusing to play my part. When her words finally trailed off, the silence grew heavier. That's when I leaned back in my chair, locked eyes with her, and said just 2 words. "Don't worry." The effect was instant. She blinked, her mouth parting, clearly expecting anger or pleading. But all she got was calm, too calm, and it rattled her more than anything else could have. She shifted in her seat, unsettled, like her script had suddenly fallen apart. Her voice shook as she repeated, "Don't worry?" That's it. I didn't answer. I just held her gaze, then turned back to my emails as if the conversation was over. That's when she realized something had changed. I wasn't clinging anymore. I wasn't the desperate husband who would fight to keep her. My calmness carried a finality she hadn't prepared for, and it scared her. The rest of the night, she kept circling back, asking if I was angry, if I cared, if I still loved her. Her voice grew sharper, more desperate, as she tried to push me into reacting. But I didn't budge. I carried on with my evening as if nothing had happened. My silence, and those 2 words, hung in the air like a weight. The more I refused to engage, the more shaken she became. She thought she held control, but in reality, she had already lost it. By the next morning, I didn't wait for her to pack for her so-called trip. While she was in the shower, I quietly packed my own bag. On the kitchen counter, I left the divorce papers with a note that read, "Don't worry, I'm done." No explanations, no arguments, just the truth in black and white. When she stepped out and saw the papers, her face drained of color. But by then, I was already gone, walking out the door with my head held high. Melissa thought she could toy with my emotions, flaunt her ex, and still have me waiting like a fool when she returned. But she was wrong. The moment she said she was traveling with him, our marriage was already over. My 2-word reply was simply the period at the end of her betrayal. My way of saying, I won't fight for someone who doesn't respect me. And in the end, it wasn't rage or shouting or broken plates that shook her. It was my calm. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. Just 2 words, spoken with certainty. 2 words that mark the exact moment you finally walk away.